On December 22, 2008, 5.4 million cubic yards of coal ash sludge poured through an unregulated and unlined dam at the Tennessee Valley Authority's Kingston coal plant. The dam was more than 50 feet high and had a decade's worth of coal waste stored behind it when it broke at 1 a.m. on Monday morning. In a matter of seconds, an enormous gray and black tidal wave of coal waste covered almost 300 acres and spilled into the Emory River, where it caused a massive fish kill and polluted the river with millions of gallons of ash and debris. Homes, power lines, roads, and a railway were damaged or destroyed by a 4-foot-thick layer of coal waste. Long plumes of floating coal waste polluted both the Emory and Clinch rivers many miles downstream from the site of the spill. According to the United States EPA, a year's worth of coal waste at the Kingston plant contained 45,000 pounds of arsenic, 49,000 pounds of lead, 1.4 million pounds of barium, 91,000 pounds of chromium, and 140,000 pounds of manganese. The coal waste pond that ruptured contained many years' worth of accumulated coal waste. Toxic heavy metals can cause harmful health effects to humans, including cancer, liver damage, and central nervous system impairment. They are also extremely toxic to aquatic life, causing death and deformities. In order to maintain human and environmental health, it is imperative to keep heavy metals away from people and waterways. Sadly, the Tennessee Valley Authority utterly failed to keep their coal waste properly contained. Instead, they allowed it to contaminate the surrounding community and a neighborhood river. Five days after the spill, on a gray and foggy Saturday, December 27th, Sandra Diaz, the National Field Coordinator for Appalachian Voices, Hurricane Creekeeper John Wathen, and Watauga Riverkeeper Donna Lisenby paddled up the Clinch and Emory Rivers to conduct independent water quality sampling and to observe the cleanup efforts. 2 miles downstream of the spill, we encountered thick layers of floating coal ash. We were met on the river by Peter White, producer of Assignment Earth, a videographer on assignment with the New York Times. At 12:15 p.m., under a power line crossing on the Emory River, we collected our first samples of conductivity, pH, and heavy metals, while Peter's video camera taped the process. After our rendezvous with Peter, we continued upriver to the intake canal for the Kingston coal plant. There, we found a turbidity curtain had been erected to keep the coal waste from flowing into the coal plant. No turbidity curtain had been erected in the main stem of the river to keep the coal waste from flowing downstream. The only turbidity curtain we saw on the river that day was there to ensure that TVA's own coal sludge didn't foul the coal plant. Barges were anchored on both sides of the river, but they were not removing coal waste. The TVA website said that 2 vacuum trucks located on a flat barge were operating 12 hours a day to remove floating coal waste from the river. As you can see, rafts of coal waste and dead fish remain. At no time during our 2.3-mile journey on the river did we observe any vacuum barges removing coal waste from the river. 5 days after the spill occurred, we expected to see aggressive cleanup. We were shocked to discover that little has been done to clean up the devastation of the Emory and Clinch rivers.
Yummy.
From there, we continued upriver and began encountering islands of coal waste. We soon became surrounded by hundreds of what we called ashbergs in what was once the free-flowing Emory River. Some of the ashbergs rose more than 5 feet over our heads. We beached our boat and took more water samples, while the Emory River silently flowed through, over, and around the coal waste, taking more contamination downstream.
I'm recording.
So we're up in the Ashberg zone of the ash spill at TVA. See? Blue. But at about that time, we were interrupted. A nice little TVA officer issued us a warning citation for criminal trespass. He told us if we ever came back to the river, he would prosecute us, even though we never set foot on dry land and never touched any private property. We remained in our boats on navigable public waters of the United States at all times. We explained to TVA Security Officer John B. Neal that there were no markers, signs, or buoys indicating that the river was closed. He told us that the Coast Guard would be delivering 900 buoys soon. We proudly took our tickets and water samples and began the 2-mile journey back to the public boat landing, followed by TVA security forces on land, in water, and by a helicopter of unknown identity. About an hour later, we arrived safely back at the boat ramp with our water samples. The samples are being analyzed by Dr. Shay Tuberty at Appalachian State University's Environmental Toxicology Lab. As soon as the results are in, we'll post them to our webpage, www.appalachianvoices.org, and via video to YouTube. We ended our day with a picture of our Christmas vacation, including an autographed souvenir of our river trip courtesy of TVA Security Officer John B. Neal.